Right now, we're inviting the next speaker, Kolganov Sergey Vitalievich, PhD in philosophy, professor of the Department of Philosophy in Moscow Aviation Institute, Moscow, Russia. Mr. Kolganov graduated from the Moscow Aviation Technological Institute, named after Tsiolkovsky, where he was qualified as specialist in aircraft engines, started in the graduate school of Lomonosov Moscow State University at the Department of Philosophy and Methodology of Science, defended the PhD thesis in philosophy on the topic the concept of unity as the first principle of theosophical knowledge. Since 2003, as professor, he has taught a normative course, philosophy, and the optional course, philosophy of the ancient East at Multidimensionality Institute, author of books, The Multidimensionality of Human Existence, Formation of Philosophical Anthropology, Issues of Modern Science, member of the Russian Philosophical Society, currently works at the Moscow Aviation Institute, teaching a number of training courses to bachelor's, master's, and postgraduates. Mr. Kolganov Sergey Vitalievich, PhD in philosophy, professor of philosophy in Moscow Aviation Institute, Russia, Moscow, Ecology of the Soul and the Image of the Future. The best wishes to all participants of the Congress. Hello, dear friends. My topic is the environment of soul and the image of the future. We are aimed at reproduction, not at reproduction of what we already have in the society where we live. The major role is played by the search for new technologies and their application, including social technologies. As they introduced Russian activities beyond limits of nature, and that is the way to construct the new worlds. In this process, all the cultural limits are left behind, and we are using new information technologies. That is the way to create our new future. The atomic scientist Ralph Lab from the USA characterized the situation the following way, writing, "We are in the train that is getting faster and faster, and we are on the way with an unknown number of directions, with no scientist inside, and with the demons that can sit at the direction of our train, at the rail." The information society we're in right now is associated with the new technologies, computer technologies, information technologies, and communications playing a major role in transformation of knowledge. That is the unique way to change social communication, to create anthropotechnological and social technological systems, internet, as this kind of system is not only presented by units of information, it has such mediators as texts, different addressees, different senders, and thanks to IT, a particular virtual reality is being formed. The very notion of this virtual reality has a long history related to philosophy and art. Cogito by Descartes was saying that the only reality is the reality of our mind. Everything else is virtual. From this point of view, there is the theory which is virtual. The reality we have in front of our eyes is virtual, is contemplated. And from this point of view, we can doubt that this understanding is included in humanitarian area of science. According to the logic, it should be part of physics. So mental energy has its proponents. Let these proponents be not that respected as they are today, and It's possible due to mental creativity to play with roles, to have multiple self. There are even religious organizations that are formed around the artificial intelligence, the inevitable one. And those who are in these temples, they are getting our faith in technology stronger. That is the way to the future, established in 2015 by Anthony Lewandowski from the Silicon Valley, characterizing the surge of the artificial intelligence as the one raising up the God. It's different from other churches. It's never had a physical building or regular sessions where they can come. That is the church ways of the future. It should contribute to the development of the artificial intelligence. That is the way to probably integrate artificial intelligence into human society. Of course, development of modern technologies leading to constructization and implementation of our wishes should only be hailed, but still, in line with the catastrophic rise of information volumes, there are new needs that we have, and they're not healthy anymore. We should take into account moral attitude of the human being. Subject should not become object. It should not become something without soul. But modern world is becoming a kind of paradise for introverts, for sociophobic people. And we, thanks to material world, start to value our environment, what is around us. If there are problems arising, it means that we all have them. In the mental sphere, these problems have not been that evident recently, but now, thanks to modern information technologies, the mental worlds of other people have become available to everyone. So we get to know the problems of different areas, bad environmental picture that is connected to the bad quality of mental sphere of humanity. Indifference to animal, human being, is not just a material being. It's beyond. It's created the spiritual and cultural world. And that is why in recent years the term of environment also can also be related to culture and soul, such notions. The center of the focus of this new world is our mind, is self-consciousness. If the environment, environmental science is more about what is around us in the physical world, then the environmental science for the soul should protect the purity that is needed to develop our soul. Unfortunately, achievements of modern civilization are so far away from it. The one who follows natural laws will be pure in soul as well. But is it only up to a single person? The being of physical and moral world is up to the whole humanity. What has always been and is within the production of everything that is mental, not material, is there. Is it required to follow all the stages and make all the errors in spiritual production that we've already made in the material one? And do we need this endless generation of new, even shocking mental structures? Do we need this information smog, these great piles of mental garbage? Or will we start directly from perfect thoughts, perfect images, bringing them up to perfection. From the point of view of religion, they are so longer than material ones. All the physical and mechanical images cannot be compared to subtle energy. The future is up to subtle energies, and the matter should get back to this light. The globalist climate organization S40 includes almost 40 cities around the world. In its report, called The Future of Urban Consumption under the temperature 1.5 degrees Celsius, poses the ambitious goal of humanity to prohibit meat, dairy products, personal transport, to limit aviation and limit consumption. It should all take place before 2030. It's allowed to have the 3 new items of clothing per person per year and 1 flight per person every 3 years. Will all this give positive output? In this project, the material is preferable if compared to spiritual. It's only replacing the consumption policy, material consumption policy, to minimal consumption. Let's say what the right approach to solving the social problems is. It's the priority of spiritual and moral values. Spirituality means our relation to the spirit. If we're open to the spirit and follow its laws, then we're spiritual people. And if the way the person accepts spirituality depends on the physical characteristics, and it can be further strengthened as moral and spiritual norms within the society. It contributes to better aims and achievements in spiritual area. Without that, without these spiritual milestones, great problems are waiting us. That's what we need to regulate global processes, to arrange them. The main issue, the main way to solve modern issues is within values, and our destiny depends on this spiritual area. Jürgen Habermas wrote in his book that now the assumption of a universal one and all perspective of truth, or the good life, which until the recent of times has forever inspired the philosophical community concerned about the loss of unity, is not just being put under question, but is perceived as a threat of unacceptable interference in every person's life. Is this approach applicable if our future is at stake? The effect of fear against the future is the organic non-acceptance by a human being of any understanding of the future that is not in line with the present. Future is perceived as idealized present. Sergey Bulgakov, the Russian philosophist, was saying that there are the 2 beings within the human person. One is leading to active spirit's work for the sake of his ideals, and the second one is aimed at making our life material and law-oriented. This second being has led to futuracid, that is similar to genocide. Futuracide is a kind of information war, technological war, using modern opportunities to affect the enemy. That the phenomenon in catastrophic movements that are popular globally in the Western world. Almost all the mass culture we have today sets fears, provokes, brings up negative emotions. It's a kind of future acid. Future acid is so popular today, and it's only possible to counter it successfully only if we have governmental authorities on our side. And that is why we should accept the whole range of measures. What do we need? Till it's not too late, we should put more in the virtual reality, more moral values than we have in the material world.
Людей склоняется не в пользу материальной реальности, так как нередко для человека
more and more frequent that we put just simple ideas and images there.
с идеалами любви, красоты и справедливости.
Actually, the person should connect to the ideals of love and morality in this virtual world. With the social changes, there is the task not only to adapt to what we already have, the changes, but also the new transformations that are about to come. Apart from direct norms of our actions, we should also take into account what we should do, what we need to do. That is the ideal. And we understand the ideal as modeling of the future by a human being. That is what is crucial for every single person and for the future and for the society as a whole. People take decisions. Value is what is a focus for human activity. We should not forget that most problems are currently born by technogenic civilization, and what is based on our understanding of special values. The President's decree, 9th of November last year, pointed out the 17 Russian moral and spiritual traditional values. In particular, we should pose attention to the value of life, rights of human being, moral ideals, collectivism, family, kindness, and the priority of spirituality over material life, mercy, justice, labor, etc. This document is particularly important for Russia because it's the way for the state to protect these values. They are also based on the works by many Russian scientists, humanists, that have led us to the higher ideals of morality. The Russian Orthodox tradition based on these values brings us closer to the great cultures, the Islamic, the Buddhist, the Hinduist cultures. The post-Soviet Russia is also where a particular role can be attributed to the Theosophical tradition and the life ethics. A person who has chosen the Theosophical path usually radically changes his way of thinking and habits. It's useful to realize and understand the significance of such habit in life. And the quote is the following: if you were to start drawing up diagrams of earthly habits, you would have been left with the unique idea of the planet's life. Many habits survive races and the entire eras. No change in all living conditions affects such habits that are formed by the manifestation of stubbornness. So, the formation of moral values in the person happens. How does it happen? Is it done in a natural way, or while the person is brought up in the family, in the kindergarten, at school? Is it enough? Shouldn't we use the modern technologies we have in the process of bringing up a person. Spiritual teachers were based on their imagination and their will, but it's not always that developed in the human being. What should we use to develop the will? We should use the habits, because we need the right set of habits. That is what Jim Rohn wrote. Success is not more than several habits that are followed every day, and the failure is just several errors we repeat every day. We find the similar thoughts in the statement by Madame Blavatsky. Strength is needed in order to fight against the influence of heredity and education, as well as to resist the instincts and habits acquired upon this and other incarnations. But much more strength is needed in order to cross the 0 point and give rise to new instincts and habits in living conditions, and with the prevailing mentality that vehemently shall resist the new incarnation. The innovations attributable to modern world allow us to affect human behavior, form new habits. In the 21st century, we have new technologies that can correct failures of the past from the point of view of the school. In China, for instance, there is the new system of social rating, following, monitoring the actions of many legal and physical persons, most part of the population. They attribute them with the marks available online for everybody who wishes to learn about them. The social rating is fixed on the scale and is based on the 3 main areas: social, state, and networking areas. The data is collected from 1,500 organizations and is transformed to the big data. The social rating can get higher through socially beneficial help and actions, good relations with the neighbors, etc. The social rating is also applied in dating sites. This technology is sometimes applied for socially disconnected people. In Russia, it's not that developed, this area of social rating that could be. It's only the initiative by the Moscow Social University to introduce the social rating among the students. And we also know that in Kamchatka region, there is Kamchatka system of social rating, where you can get free tickets.
Камчатки за каждые 10 тысяч шагов ежедневно тоже будут начисляться дополнительные баллы.
Additional scales and other benefits. The way to keep the earth for the future generation is to keep us alive, to create a better person. And we can do it through the right image of the future. We should form it systematically. We should have new elements of reality and come to them as to our ideas, introducing them into our everyday life. That is the way to regulate our motives, our values, our understanding of happiness and future of humanity. That is how we should go out of the crisis. Through cultural changes, new values, and motivation that should be an integral part of worldview among population. We cannot deny that there are so many suffering people today. That was the result of a minor role of moral values in our life. We should come to self-evolution of human mind through cultural and educational events, working in the interests of 100% of human beings, and we should re-biologize the technological sphere of our planet. Thank you. Dear Mr. Kolganov, thank you so much for your presentation. I think it's clear not only to theosophists, but also to others. Your thought is so clear today. Thank you. And right now, I would like to say, within this concept and idea that was told about so greatly, that is the problem that exists, that is relevant, and it gets bigger and bigger. But we are in this bifurcation point mentioned today. Of course, it will give us the impotence, and that is the concept of social, governmental structures, etc. Thank you for drawing your attention to that. That is so important. That is one of the tasks of the Theosophical Congress that will work on these particular features in the future. We hope that the moral position of human development and social development, of course, will win.